Welcome back, listeners, to another bone-chilling episode. Tonight, we dive deep into the haunting tale of the true crime curse, an urban legend that has sent shivers down the spines of those daring enough to explore its origins. This story follows Jess, a rising podcaster in the true crime world, hungry for her big break. Little did she know that her ambition would lead her down a path filled with unexplainable terror. So dim the lights, get comfortable, and prepare yourself for a tale that might make you question the true price of uncovering dark secrets. Jess was an ambitious podcaster, eager to rise above the sea of voices in the true crime genre. After covering several smaller, lesser-known cases, she knew she needed something big. A story that would catapult her podcast into the spotlight. That's when she stumbled upon the Alma Bridge case, an unsolved mystery from her small town. The case revolved around the disappearance of a teenage girl named Emily Shaw, who vanished without a trace near the old Alma Bridge decades ago. Locals whispered about the bridge being haunted, with sightings of a shadowy figure and cries for help echoing in the night. Intrigued by the mystery and the eerie legends, Jess decided that this was the story she had been looking for. Her excitement was quickly met with an unsettling message. An anonymous email landed in her inbox with just one line. "Some stories are meant to be left untold." Jess laughed it off, assuming it was a prank from a listener. After all, what kind of true crime investigation didn't come with a few creepy messages? She pressed on, diving into old news articles, police reports, and interviews. But as she began her research, strange things started happening. During her first recording session, she played back the audio and heard a faint whisper she hadn't noticed before. "Help me." The voice was soft, almost pleading, and it sent a shiver down her spine. Jess brushed it off as interference, but a small seed of fear had been planted. Determined, Jess began interviewing people connected to the case. Most of the locals were reluctant to speak, treating the subject with an almost superstitious fear. She managed to track down a retired detective who had originally worked on the case. His face was lined with age and something that looked a lot like regret. He told her that many who investigated the Alma Bridge case suffered strange fates, sudden illnesses, mysterious car accidents, even suicides. He warned her to leave the story alone, but Jess was undeterred. This was exactly the kind of twist that would hook her listeners. That night, while editing the interview, Jess heard static interference, and then a voice, clear as day, whisper, "You're next." Jess was shaken, but she convinced herself it was just audio distortion. She wasn't going to let a few creepy voices scare her off. As her obsession with the case deepened, so did the strange occurrences. Her computer would freeze on Emily's photo. Her reflection seemed delayed in the mirror, and she often felt a cold draft pass by, even with the windows shut. Then, an audio file she didn't remember creating. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, Jess decided to visit Alma Bridge herself. The bridge was shrouded in fog and an unnatural silence, as if the entire area had been cut off from the rest of the world. She set up her recorder and began speaking, her voice trembling slightly as she asked questions aloud. It felt like she was conducting a seance. When she played back the recording, her heart skipped a beat. There was a voice on the tape, not hers, answering her questions. It said, "He's watching." Jess felt a cold grip on her shoulder, and when she turned around, there was no one there, just the empty bridge and the sound of the river below. She could have sworn she saw a shadowy figure at the edge of the bridge, but when she blinked, it was gone. Back home, Jess's paranoia reached new heights. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Phone calls from unknown numbers filled with static and faint crying plagued her. She was losing sleep, her dreams haunted by visions of Emily Shaw, her hollow eyes staring, her lips mouthing silent words of desperation. Jess felt like she was unraveling, but she couldn't stop. She had uncovered a crucial lead. The investigation into Emily's disappearance had been botched, likely on purpose. The lead suspect, a wealthy businessman, had powerful connections that ensured the case went cold. But as Jess looked up his name online, she found his obituary. He had died the night she visited Alma Bridge. Jess decided to confront the spirit head-on. She announced a live stream episode, promising her listeners the truth about the Alma Bridge case. Her apartment was dimly lit as she spoke into the microphone, recounting everything she had uncovered. The lights flickered, and then with a loud pop, they went out completely. Her screen glitched, and viewers began commenting frantically, saying they could see a shadowy figure behind her. Jess felt the temperature drop sharply, her breath visible in the air. The shadow moved closer, and her voice distorted, almost as if it were merging with another. The stream cut to black, the last sound being Jess's terrified scream. For weeks, her channel went silent. Her followers speculated wildly, some believing it was all a publicity stunt, others fearing the worst. Bon, a final episode appeared out of nowhere, titled The Truth About Alma Bridge. The voice narrating it sounded like Jess, but there was something off, a strange echo, a hollow tone that made it seem like she was speaking from somewhere far away. The episode told the story from Emily's perspective, revealing the dark truth about the cover-up and the unspeakable acts that led to her death. The final words sent chills down the spines of listeners. You wanted the truth. Now you have it. But the story isn't over. Listeners reported feeling cold while listening, and some claimed to hear faint sobbing in the background. The story ends with a haunting epilogue. A new podcaster, eager to ride the wave of interest in Jess's disappearance, announces plans to investigate the Alma Bridge case. Despite warnings from listeners and other true crime creators, they set out on the same path Jess did. The final image is of the dark, fog-covered bridge, a shadowy figure barely visible in the distance. The tale leaves us with a chilling realization. The curse hasn't ended, and the line between storyteller and victim has blurred. Perhaps some stories are better left untold, but for those who refuse to listen, the price may be their very soul. And that, my friends, is the story of the true crime curse. A grim reminder that some mysteries are meant to stay buried, and those who dig too deep may not like what they find. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with those who love a good scare. But be careful, you never know what might be listening from the other side. Until next time, stay safe and keep your lights on. Echoes of Fear.